So we're going to talk about clearing a space, kitchen witch style. What we mean by kitchen witch style is you're using herbs or spices that you find in your kitchen, or you're using everyday items that you might find around your house. Okay? So one of the basic ways that most people know of clearing a space is by using sage. This is a sage smudge, and what it is it's a bundle that's just made up of long pieces of white sage. Okay? The way a sage smudge works, you light it from some source of fire, usually a lighter because matches won't last as long, until you get a nice little glow on it. And you'll see that it smokes. What you want to do when you're clearing a space is you want to work clockwise to clear it. Okay? I always start at the first doorway, so I'm going to come toward you. Feathers. Feathers are nice to move that smoke. So you want to go towards the center or towards the entrance. Go clockwise through the whole room with the smoke. When you get to doorways or you get to other kinds of portals of entry, windows, television screens, computer monitors, I always do an extra smudge around the perimeter before I move on to the rest of the room. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of pushing that smoke into all the areas that I can. Hi, Lila. Hey, Simba. I have a TV right here, which you probably don't see until you come back to the beginning again. Now you can do this with a space. You can do this with indoor space or outdoor space. Put that some water for me, please. The other thing that you can use is it's getting to be a little more well known as Palo Santo. And Palo Santo is a type of wood that comes from the South America region. And you do the same thing. You light it until it picks up a little bit of a coal, and it'll smoke too. And it has kind of a sweet scent, a little more of a woody sweet scent. You can also use loose sage or loose herbs depending on what your purpose is. For example, if you want to bring peace to your home, some calming, some tranquility, wouldn't be a bad idea to use some loose sage and some loose lavender and put them either in a shell or a bowl that's appropriate for burning. And then you could just light the edge of it, or you can use a charcoal briquette underneath of it. There's special ones made for incense. Always make sure, of course, common sense, if you're going to burn something, do it safely, do it sanely. The safety is much more important than the energetic purpose, okay? It does you no good to bless your house if you're going to burn it down. Now, there's some of us that we have issues with some smokes, so there's other ways of going about this. If you have a bell or a chime, we don't tend to use bells and chimes in this house very much. It freaks the cats out. But that sound can permeate all the corners too, where you can walk it around the room. Okay? Another sound that you can use is you can take two stones, make sure they're ones that aren't going to chip off a whole lot, and you start the same way. Now the purpose of doing this isn't just that you can make noise in your house and noise in your space. What you're doing is you're breaking up the old stagnant energy and you're giving it a little more of a purpose. You do this with intention so that your space, that your room or your home or your campsite or your spiritual circle, wherever it is, so that it knows that we have a purpose here. So for example, when I work with my living room, I like to put the intention of peace, relaxation, entertainment, family, friends, community. I like all of that in my living room. So anytime I light a smudge or I light a candle or I ring a chime, I do it with those intentions. Another thing that you can do, and this is fun if you have kids, this is a way of getting kids involved without them being hurt. You know, you don't want kids necessarily handling a lighted smudge or a candle or anything. Bubbles will tell you a lot about your room. You watch how quickly they move or how light they are. Bubbles that kind of float at mid-level when you blow them, or that lift, tell you that you have a good energy. Bubbles that immediately sink, your energy is a little stagnant, you could use a cleansing and a clearing. But all of these things should be things that are just kind of hanging around your home. Shouldn't be any big deal, you shouldn't have to go out and shop for them. You can always use any herbs or spices that really call to you. I wouldn't use things like peppers or mustards because you will essentially gas yourself out of your home. But things like cinnamon, lavender, sage, any of the greens like rosemary, thyme, oregano, parsley, chives, any of those would be good. Cloves to some degree would be okay. Use the things you have around you. Remember, this is your space, your energy, so you want it to be personal to you. Okay? Have fun. Go cleanse things.